Hey there, my gorgeous friends on the internet, and welcome to the ultimate JavaScript animation course. Yay! Hope you are excited as much as we are here. This is our favorite course that we made so far. We love design and animations, and hope you're excited just as much as we are. Now, this is going to be a full-on project-based course. You're going to learn everything about scroll-based animations, page transitions, micro animations, pretty much every fun stuff that you see out there on the internet. We're probably going to have something on it in here. So in this chapter, I'm just going to talk a little bit about why we use animations in the first place, and then give you a couple of little examples of animations made with CSS and vanilla JavaScript. Okay, just like a basic introduction. If you've never done things with keyframes before, or class togglings or stuff like that, then stick around. If you've done that, if you've done a bit of animations before, feel free to skip to chapter 2, where we start building out our first project with an awesome library. Okay, so in this episode, I just want to talk a little bit about why we use animations. Now, we can make websites just using HTML and CSS without any animations, and it's going to be fully functional, fully fine. Everybody's going to be happy. And that's true. However, I'm going to say that for the most of us, that might be quite boring. Okay. We're not too different from puppies. We like things moving, just moving around and bouncing and jumping, and it catches our attention. So that's probably one of the main reasons why you want to use animations on your website. It makes your website a bit more unique. It's way more engaging for the user, and it's just exciting and fun. So I'm just going to show you a couple of websites here that I think are cool. This is from awards.com. You can check it out. This is like the perfect place to get inspired. So we have here base at home. So one thing that animations help us in this case, as you can see, when we hover over this, it has this nice fading out, indicating that we can click on this and it's clickable. We have this text popping up here. So rather than having it there by default, having it animate in directs our attention right to this part of our website. So imagine you have a product that you want to sell. You can have your buy button here that's animating in, and a little text about it to get people interested in. So rather than them just glaring at the nav bar or picture or random text, if you have this little animation here, they're gonna look right over here. Now, I think even if you click on cart here, I believe it was on this website. So when we click here, as you can see, the rest of the page slowly fades out, whilst the nav bar, or cart I should say, slowly slides out from the right. So again, it shifts your attention to this part of the screen. So this is very powerful. And you're going to see this quite a lot on a lot of big websites. Now, another thing that it helps us is just make your designs a bit more fun. So rather than having this static here, we can put more information in, and having this slide from the right to left, giving this kind of like infinite look. So it helps you make your designs look a bit nicer. Let's see what else is here. Let's see what's clickable. So here as well, let me scroll back up. In this case here, we have this nice circle expanding whilst we scroll, which also helps just separate the first page from the second one here. Again, we have this scroll-based slide here, which makes our designs look a bit more interesting. I'm sorry if this is a bit laggy. It's just the frame rate of this video, which is going to make it look like that. So animations also help us give users directions on what to do. So in this case here, as you can see, if I hover over this bubble pops up saying play. All right, so it helps users also navigate the page a bit easier. And I believe this website had it. Look at this. Look at that page transition. How nice is that? So it also, like in this case, it gives that application feel to the website, which makes it more seamless, more engaging, and just pleasant to look at. Let's click back here. Rather than having the page refresh and having this flash on the screen of white page, it keeps the user more engaged and more curious. Same goes here at the top here, right? We have this section slowly sliding in. Rather than having the image just instantly pop up on the screen like that scary maze game, like buh. If you remember that one, it was an old internet thing. It slides in nicely, which is quite organic. Everything in this world has like a starting and finishing point, right? So if you move your hands, you see a car on the street, you see a tree getting blown away by the wind, right? It has a nice movement to it. Rather, nothing's really jittery or pop. Nothing really pops in instantly in the real world. So it adds that organic look to it. Okay, I've been just talking a lot. We should just start getting and doing stuff now. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Okay, so in this one, let's just look at some CSS animations and the primary ways of doing them. So in this case here, I just have an empty index.html and an empty style.css. So if you want to follow along, feel free. If not, that's fine as well. We're not really building out anything here, so just enjoy back and watch if you want to. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold Shift and 1, which is going to give me an exclamation mark, and hit Tab. So that's just going to generate a kind of a boilerplate HTML here for us, like the basic structure of it. Let me make this font a little bit smaller for us so we can fit in more content. So I'm just going to add a button here. We're going to keep this extremely, extremely simple. So let's call this Hover Me. So one way to add animations is with transitions. So let's go here. I'm gonna just open this up with Live Server. So if you don't have this, feel free to go over to the extension tab and search up Live Server. Okay, install this. Should look like this. This wonderful Wi-Fi 6G icon. Okay. So once you have installed, you can right click on your index.html and open with Live Server. Okay, it pulled it up on the other screen, unfortunately. So let me just drag it here for you. It won't drag. Why you do this to me? It's the other way, that way. All right, there we go. There's our Hover Me button. Wonderful. So what I'm going to do is just center it here on the screen for us. So I'm going to go over to style.css. I'm going to just grab the body. So body, I'm going to add a display flex to it, which allows us to center the button in the middle of the screen. So the way we do that is I'm just going to add a height to this body. So I'm going to say 100 VH. So 100 VH basically takes up the full size of the viewport. So depending on your monitor, depending on your size, it's just going to take up this whole space. Okay. So there we go. So if I just add a background color to illustrate this, I'm going to say gray and hit save. Now it doesn't work because I need to link my style sheet here. So let's just grab this style.css and hit save. All right, so there we go. Full screen right there. So if I do 50 VH, it's going to basically take up 50% of my monitor's height. Now, maybe I should have added this in a section because it's not going to work on the body. So let me just do something called just a section. Oops. Section like this. Let me paste the button in here, hit save, and just change this to section. There we go. Okay, so it's going to take up half of the screen. Perfect. So let's do it full now and take out the background here. And all I'm going to do is say justify content center. That's going to drop it horizontally. And if I do align item center, that's going to do it vertically for us right there. I'm going to increase the size of the button a little bit. So I'm going to do button, add a bit of padding to it. I can do 1 rem and 2 rem. There we go. So it's a bit larger. And then let's increase the font size of it, 2 rem. Oh, that's super big, 1.5. There we go, just so we have something on the screen here. Let's also get rid of that border. I'm gonna say none. There we go. I'm gonna change the color of this to white. And just increase the background. I'm gonna say black. Well, an off black, really. I'm not gonna do fully black. There we go, hit save. There we go. So I don't want to do full black because then the contrast is going to be a bit too harsh on the eyes with that white. It's literally on the opposite spectrum. So there we go. Okay, so one way we can do it is by adding a transition. So let's say I want to add a hover effect to it. So when I hover over the button, I want to change the background. So I'm just going to copy over this background from here. Paste it here. And just make the color a bit lighter. So I'm going to hover over it and just drag this a bit up. Okay. Now when we do it, boop, boop, it's instant. It looks a bit weird, but it works. So to animate this property to this one, all we have to do is go over to the button and add a transition to it. So transition takes in a couple of parameters here. The first one is going to be the name. So which property do you want to animate? So whether it's color, whether it's the border, the font size, the background. In this case, we want to do the background. So I want to animate the background, and then I need to give it a duration. So in this case, I'm going to do 0.75. And then I also need to give it an easing. So in this case, I'm not going to do any easing. Okay. So let's see, still doesn't work. I believe we do need to add seconds here. So 0.75 seconds, like that. And there we go, look at that. We have that nicely animating in and animating out. Let me make this a bit brighter just so you can see, or maybe add a little color to it, just to make it a bit more visible. And there we go, that's even harder to see. I'm gonna make it super blue. Bam, okay, and there we go. That's nice. All right, so here as a third property, we can also add an easing. Now, what is easing? It's basically how you, so the animation does last 0.75 seconds, but the way it transitions over to this color is very linear. So it starts at the same speed and ends at the same speed. GSAP has a great resource here to visualize easings. So the one we have here currently is called linear. So if I pull this up for you here, we can easily visualize this. Here we go. Let me drop it in here. There we go. So if we go over here, let's see, does it have linear? It might not have linear, you know, just custom, oh, none. Okay, so this is what's happening with our animation right now. It starts off, it goes the same speed, right? It lasts for 1 second. How much is this? I believe they have like 2 seconds on here, but as you can see, it goes the same speed. Now, if we add a little curve to it, like power 1 here, with an ease out, as you can see, it starts faster and it slows down towards the end. Now the duration is the same. Oh, here we go. It's 2.5 seconds. The duration is the same. It's just in that 2.5 seconds, how does it actually behave? So easings are quite nice to use. I feel like they make animations look a bit more natural. You can imagine a car driving by and then just suddenly stopping. Like, it's not very natural, right? So when you have something move, it usually comes, like when it stops, it slows down in a smooth fashion. In this case, with none, it just, as soon as it gets to the finish line, boop, it just instantly stops. So this is like an ease out. There's many ones like elastic, which can be quite fun to use. Rough, oh, this is not nice. But yeah, there we go. So in our case, we'll just add an ease out. Ease in is the same, it just literally eases in. It starts slower and then it speeds up, but we're gonna use ease out. So let's go back here. I'm going to close up this GSAP and let's see when we hover over it now. Look at that. It has a nice slowing at the end there. Okay, so that's one way that we can use animations with transitions. So it doesn't necessarily need to be hover here. In the next episode, I'm going to show you how we can add an animation with a class in JavaScript. So I'll see you in that part.